Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you to the team for being here, and congratulations, Ms. Hogan, on your 5-year anniversary. In your report on childcare, you say that the Liberals have fulfilled their responsibilities, and you quote that when it comes to flexibility, but there's no metric on flexibility. And in your report, you actually state that families outside of the standard hours are struggling to find care. So I'm just wondering how you can say that they are meeting their responsibilities.
So I said that the federal funding has led to improvements in early childhood and learning, but it is still time left, right, to decide whether or not all of the responsibilities have been met. The federal funding has helped reduce the cost of childcare. 5 provinces and 3 territories are already at $10 a day, which is ahead of the deadline of 2026. Additional spots have been created, but there's still a lot of work left to be done there. But then it was impossible for me to evaluate other areas, whether it came to accessibility or the quality of childcare. So while the funding's helped improve this situation, there's still room for improvement.
So do we have any idea how many kids are still without care?
Well, all I know is what the federal government received from the provinces and territories, and I can highlight what Statistics Canada would tell you that there in 2021 there was 2.2 million children who were aged 5 years and under, and more than half of them were in childcare, and that it was at an average cost of over $30 a day. So the fact that 112 spots have been created, which is less than half of the target, is why I raised the risk that filling the 250 spots or creating those 2 spots might be very difficult to achieve.
Do you know how many of the new spots are actually filled?
And that's actually a piece of information that the federal government isn't gathering from the provinces and territories. In fact, they turned to another Statistics Canada survey to understand why parents may not be taking up the new spots.
So part of why I asked this is Ontario Auditor General recently studied this, and they actually found that 27% of spots weren't being filled. Mm-hmm. That's very concerning to me. We're spending a lot of money. The Liberals keep boasting about how much money is being spent. We don't actually know how many kids are actually seeing the benefits of this.
So you actually raised something that I've been working on with some of my colleagues in the Provincial Auditor's General Office. We felt that it was important to try and coordinate some of our work on topics exactly like this, where there's a lot of federal funding, but a lot of the heavy lifting happens in the provinces and territories. And so there will be 2 other provinces who will be looking at this as well. And I think it's important so that you can see the picture from the start to the finish, where the funding comes from and then how it actually happens.
Is there any standard information being collected across the provinces on this?
So there is some information being collected, but what the government did was they allowed every province and territory to provide it in whatever format they want.
Okay, cool.
There's flexibility in the agreements to make sure that they get consistent and standardized information, which is why we recommended that.